Every morning, before you speak to the world has already begun speaking to you. Your mind wakes up carrying yesterday's doubts, yesterday's fears, and yesterday's habits. If you do not choose your first thoughts with awareness, your old patterns will choose them for you. The quality of your life is shaped by the quality of the words you repeat to yourself when no one else is listening. A single sentence can weaken your spirit, or it can awaken a strength you never knew you had. The morning is not just the beginning of another day. It is the moment you decide who will guide your mind, fear or wisdom, excuses or discipline, comfort or growth. Today, you will discover 5 powerful things to tell yourself every single morning. Words that can transform not only the way you think, but the way you live. One sunrise at a time. Every morning, before anything else happens, there is one decision that quietly shapes the rest of your day. It is not what you wear, what you eat, or what appears on your schedule. It is whether you choose responsibility or whether you surrender your power to circumstances. Most people never notice this choice because they have become so accustomed to blaming something outside themselves. They blame their past, their family, their lack of money, their difficult childhood, their boss, the economy, or simply bad luck. Little by little, this habit convinces them that life is happening to them instead of being created through them. The moment you believe that everything outside you controls your future, you also believe that your own hands are too weak to change it. Responsibility does not mean carrying guilt for everything that has happened. Many events arrive without your permission. People disappoint you. Opportunities disappear. Plans fail. Unexpected problems appear when you least expect them. None of these things ask for your approval before entering your life. Yet even when you cannot choose the event, you can always choose your response. That response becomes your true character. It becomes the place where your freedom begins. The strongest people are not those who experience the least difficulty. They are the ones who refuse to let difficulty become an excuse for remaining the same. Imagine 2 people standing in the same storm. They face the same wind, the same rain, and the same darkness. One spends every moment complaining about how unfair the weather is. The other begins searching for shelter, gathering materials, and finding a path forward. The storm is identical, but the outcome is completely different because one person focuses on blame while the other focuses on responsibility. Life often works in exactly this way. Your attention determines your direction. If your attention remains fixed on what others failed to do, you slowly lose sight of what you can still do. Many people wait for motivation before taking responsibility. They believe they must first feel confident, inspired, or emotionally ready. But responsibility is not a feeling, it is a decision. There will be mornings when you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. There will be days when your mind tells you that nothing will change anyway. If you only act when your emotions agree with your goals, your emotions become your master. Responsibility means doing what is necessary, even when comfort whispers a different suggestion. It means understanding that your feelings deserve acknowledgement, but not unquestioned obedience. When you tell yourself, I am responsible for the direction of my life, you are not claiming control over everything that exists. You are claiming ownership over the one place where your greatest influence lives, your choices. Every thought you encourage, every habit you repeat, every word you speak, and every action you take becomes another step in a direction. Directions create destinations. A ship does not arrive at a distant shore because of one powerful wave. It arrives because it continues, adjusting its course despite changing winds. Your life follows the same principle. Small daily choices quietly become your future before you even notice they are accumulating. There is something deeply liberating about accepting responsibility. At first it feels heavy because excuses are comfortable. Excuses allow you to avoid difficult questions. They protect your pride for a moment, but they also imprison your potential. Responsibility asks you to look honestly at yourself. It asks where you could become more disciplined, more patient, more focused, and more courageous. This honesty may feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is often the doorway to transformation. Growth begins where excuses end. Notice how much energy is wasted by wishing reality were different. People replay old conversations, imagine different outcomes, and argue with events that have already happened. Hours become days, and days become years, spent fighting the past inside the mind. Responsibility gently redirects your attention. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" it asks, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of asking, "Who is to blame?" it asks, "What is the next wise action?" These questions immediately return your mind to a place of strength, because they focus on movement rather than complaint. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to practice this mindset. Before the noise of the world enters your awareness, remind yourself that your attitude is yours to cultivate. Your discipline is yours to strengthen. Your character is yours to shape. No one else can practice your patience for you. No one else can build your integrity or develop your resilience. These qualities are created through repeated choices that nobody may ever see. The quiet victories inside your own mind often become the greatest victories in your life. You may not control how quickly success arrives. You may not control how others treat you or whether they understand your intentions. But you can decide that your values will not change because someone else behaved poorly. You can choose consistency over excuses, effort over complaint, and learning over self-pity. Every time you make that choice, you reinforce the belief that your life is guided from within, rather than pushed from the outside. This inner direction becomes stronger with repetition, until responsibility is no longer something you remember to practice, but something you remember to practice, but something that naturally defines the way you think and waji. You remember to practice, but something that naturally defines the way you think and live. Every morning, your mind presents you with a quiet choice that most people never notice. One path leads toward comfort, the other toward discipline. Comfort always speaks first, because it is familiar. It tells you to sleep a little longer, delay the difficult conversation, skip the workout, ignore your responsibilities, or wait until you feel more motivated. It promises relief without asking for effort. Discipline speaks much more softly. It does not argue or force itself into your attention. It simply reminds you that the life you desire is built by the actions you take, not by the feelings you wait for. The voice of comfort is loud because it wants immediate satisfaction. The voice of discipline is calm because it understands the value of time. Many people believe discipline is a punishment, something that removes freedom and fills life with endless rules. In reality, the opposite is true. A person without discipline becomes a servant to every passing emotion. If they feel excited, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel confident, they move forward. If they feel afraid, they retreat. Their entire life becomes controlled by moods that constantly change. Discipline frees you from this cycle. It teaches you that your actions do not have to depend on your emotions. You can choose what is right, even when it feels difficult. That choice is where true freedom begins. Temporary comfort often disguises itself as kindness. It tells you that you deserve a break before you have earned one. It convinces you that tomorrow will be a better day to begin. It whispers that one missed opportunity one delayed decision, or one broken promise does not matter. Individually, these moments seem harmless, but repeated every day, they quietly shape your character. Your habits are formed through small decisions that appear insignificant in the moment. What you repeatedly choose eventually becomes who you are. Imagine a river flowing around a stone. The water does not carve the rock through one powerful strike. It changes the stone through constant, patient repetition. Discipline works in the same way. One disciplined morning may not transform your life, but hundreds of disciplined mornings reshape your mind, your habits, and your future. The greatest changes are rarely dramatic. They are almost invisible while they are happening. Only after months or years do people look back and realize how much has changed. The modern world constantly rewards comfort. Endless entertainment is available with a single touch. Distractions compete for every moment of your attention. Convenience has become so normal that discomfort feels like something to avoid at all costs. Yet growth has never existed inside comfort. Muscles grow through resistance. Wisdom grows through challenges. Confidence grows through keeping promises to yourself when no one else is watching. If everything is easy, nothing inside you is becoming stronger. There will always be mornings when your body feels heavy and your mind searches for excuses. It will tell you that today is different, that you deserve to rest because yesterday was difficult, or that your goals can wait another day. Listen carefully during those moments, because your future is often decided there. Success is rarely determined by what you do when everything feels easy. It is determined by what you choose when every part of you wants to quit. Discipline is not about eliminating discomfort. It is about refusing to let discomfort decide your actions. One of the greatest misunderstandings is believing that disciplined people enjoy difficult tasks more than everyone else. Most of them do not. They feel resistance just like anyone else. The difference is that they have trained themselves not to negotiate with every uncomfortable feeling. They understand that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of repeated choices can last for years. Instead of asking themselves what they feel like doing, they ask themselves what kind of person they are becoming. This simple shift changes everything, because identity is stronger than emotion. Each promise you keep to yourself strengthens trust within your own mind. Every time you wake up when you plan to complete the task you wanted to avoid, or remain focused despite distractions, you prove something important to yourself. You prove that your words have meaning. Self-confidence is not created by positive thinking alone. It grows from evidence. The evidence comes from consistently doing what you said you would do. Your mind begins to believe in you because you have shown it that your actions match your intentions. Discipline also protects your peace. A life filled with procrastination creates hidden anxiety because unfinished responsibilities remain in your thoughts. Delayed decisions become mental burdens that quietly drain your energy. Every avoided task demands attention until it is finally completed. Discipline removes this invisible weight. By facing challenges directly, instead of postponing them, you create clarity where confusion once existed. Your energy is no longer wasted, resisting what eventually must be done. There is dignity in choosing effort, even when nobody notices. Many of the most important victories happen in complete silence. No audience applauds when you resist distraction. Wake up early, remain patient under pressure, or continue working after motivation disappears. Yet these private moments shape your public life. The strength people admire is almost always built through unseen choices, repeated over long periods of time. When you tell yourself each morning, I choose discipline over temporary comfort, you remind your mind that comfort is not your highest goal. Your purpose is greater than convenience. Your future is more valuable than immediate pleasure. Every disciplined decision becomes another brick in the foundation of the life you are building. Over time, what once felt difficult begins to feel natural because discipline is no longer something you force yourself to practice. It becomes the quiet rhythm through which you think, act, and grow. Every person asks for a peaceful life, yet very few are willing to accept the lessons that peace demands. The moment difficulty appears, the mind immediately labels it as something bad, unfair, or unnecessary. It resists the experience before trying to understand it. But what if every challenge entered your life carrying a hidden purpose? What if the obstacle standing in front of you was not there to stop your journey, but to strengthen the person making that journey? The way you interpret hardship determines whether it becomes a prison or a classroom. The challenge itself is often less important than the meaning you attach to it. When people experience failure, rejection, loss, or disappointment, they often ask, "Why is this happening to me?" That question naturally pulls the mind toward self-pity. It encourages you to see yourself as a victim of circumstances rather than a student of life. A wiser question is, what is this trying to teach me? The moment you ask this, your relationship with suffering begins to change. You stop looking for someone to blame and start looking for wisdom. Every experience, no matter how painful, contains information that can make you stronger if you are willing to receive it. Think of a sword being forged. A piece of steel does not become strong by avoiding fire. It enters intense heat, endures repeated strikes, and is shaped through pressure. Without the fire, it remains ordinary metal. Without the hammer, it never discovers its strength. Human character develops in much the same way. Patience is impossible without situations that test your patience. Courage cannot exist where there is nothing to fear. Resilience has no meaning unless life first gives you something difficult to endure. The qualities you admire in others are almost always born from seasons of struggle. The mind naturally seeks comfort because comfort feels safe, yet comfort teaches very little. It rarely demands creativity, discipline, or inner growth. Challenges force you to think differently. They expose habits that no longer serve you. They reveal weaknesses you never noticed because life had not required anything greater from on. In this sense, difficulties become mirrors. They do not create your character as much as they reveal what is already inside you. Anger, fear, impatience, insecurity, or strength all become visible when life applies pressure. Without pressure, many people mistake comfort for inner peace. There are moments when life refuses to follow your plans. You prepare carefully, work hard, and still encounter setbacks. These moments often feel deeply frustrating because the mind believes effort should immediately produce results. But life is not simply measuring your ability to achieve outcomes. It is also shaping your ability to remain steady while outcomes remain uncertain. Waiting with patience, continuing with discipline, and maintaining integrity despite disappointment are lessons that cannot be learned in easy circumstances. They require uncertainty as their teacher. Many people waste enormous amounts of energy resisting reality. They replay events they cannot change and imagine different versions of the past. This mental resistance adds another layer of suffering on top of the original difficulty. The challenge itself may last for a short time, but resistance can continue for years. Acceptance does not mean liking every situation. It means seeing clearly what already exists without fighting reality inside your own mind. Once you stop arguing with what has already happened, your energy becomes available for wise action instead of endless frustration. Every challenge also reveals where your attention truly belongs. During comfortable times, it is easy to become distracted by small inconveniences and unnecessary comparisons. Hardship strips away many illusions. It reminds you what truly matters. A serious illness teaches gratitude for health. Financial struggles teach appreciation for simplicity. Loneliness teaches the value of meaningful relationships. Failure teaches humility. Every challenge has the ability to rearrange your priorities if you allow it to deepen your understanding instead of hardening your heart. The strongest people are not those who have escaped suffering. They are often the ones who have walked through it without allowing it to define them. They understand that pain and identity are not the same thing. Experiencing failure does not make you a failure. Facing rejection does not reduce your worth. Making mistakes does not mean your future has disappeared. Challenges are temporary visitors, but many people invite them to live permanently inside their minds through bitterness and resentment. Wisdom comes from allowing the experience to shape your understanding, without allowing it to imprison your spirit. Growth often happens so quietly that you do not notice it while it is occurring. You may think nothing is changing because the external situation remains difficult. Yet inside, your patience is increasing. Your emotional control is becoming stronger. Your perspective is widening. Your ability to remain calm under pressure is developing. These invisible transformations often become the greatest rewards of hardship. The challenge that once seemed like an enemy eventually becomes the reason you developed it. Qualities that comfort could never have given you. Every morning, remind yourself that today's obstacles are not personal attacks from life. They are opportunities to practice wisdom instead of reaction, discipline instead of avoidance, and courage instead of fear. When you stop asking life to remove every difficulty and instead ask for the strength to meet each challenge with clarity, your entire mindset changes. You no longer measure the value of a day by how easy it was. You measure it by who you became while moving through it. Each challenge becomes another training ground where your mind learns to remain steady, your character becomes more refined, and your inner strength grows one experience at a time. Every morning, the world presents you with countless things that are beyond your control. The weather changes without asking your permission. People form opinions about you that you cannot completely influence. Unexpected problems appear, plans fall apart, opportunities disappear, and life continues moving according to its own rhythm. Many people spend their days trying to control these external events. They argue with reality, become frustrated by other people's behavior, and exhaust themselves chasing certainty in an uncertain world. The more they try to control everything around them, the more powerless they begin to feel. True strength does not come from controlling every situation. It comes from mastering the one place where your greatest power has always existed, your own mind. Most suffering begins not with the event itself, but with the story the mind creates about it. A delayed opportunity becomes proof that life is unfair. A single criticism becomes evidence that you are not good enough. One mistake convinces you that success is impossible. The external event may last only a few moments, but the mind can continue reliving it for weeks, months, or even years. In this way, people become prisoners not of reality, but of their own interpretation of reality. Learning to observe your thoughts instead of automatically believing them is one of the greatest forms of freedom. Imagine standing beside a flowing river. Leaves, branches, and pieces of wood drift past in the current. You do not jump into the water to chase every object that floats by. You simply watch it pass. Your thoughts are much the same. Every day, thousands of thoughts enter your awareness. Some are helpful, while others are driven by fear, anger, insecurity, or doubt. The mistake most people make is assuming that every thought deserves attention. They identify with every passing idea instead of recognizing that thoughts are temporary visitors. You are not required to follow every thought simply because it appears. When someone speaks harshly to you, you cannot control the words they choose. You cannot force another person to understand your intentions or appreciate your efforts. What remains completely within your control is your response. You may react with anger and allow their words to disturb your peace for the entire day. Or you may pause, breathe, and recognize that another person's behavior reflects their own state of mind more than your worth. This pause is incredibly powerful because it interrupts the automatic cycle of reaction. In that brief space between what happens and how you respond, your freedom exists. Many people confuse reacting with strength. They believe responding immediately proves confidence. In reality, the ability to remain calm when emotions rise is often a far greater sign of inner mastery. Anyone can be controlled by anger. Anyone can lose patience when things become difficult, but remaining steady while chaos surrounds you requires training. It requires awareness. It requires remembering that your peace is too valuable to hand over to every situation that demands your attention. The mind often seeks certainty because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. It wants guarantees before taking action. It wants to know that every effort will succeed, every relationship will last, and every plan will unfold exactly as expected. Life rarely offers such promises. If you refuse to move until everything feels certain, you may spend your entire life waiting. Instead of controlling outcomes, focus on controlling preparation. Instead of controlling results, control your effort. Instead of controlling the future, control the choices available to you today. This shift removes unnecessary anxiety because it directs your energy toward what can actually be influenced. There is a quiet discipline in accepting reality without surrendering your determination. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing clearly what exists without allowing denial or frustration to cloud your minds. A sailor cannot control the wind, but they can adjust the sails. A farmer cannot command the rain, but they can prepare the soil. In the same way, you cannot control every event life brings, but you can decide whether your mind remains focused, patient, and resilient. The person who understands this becomes far less disturbed by circumstances because they stop expecting life to obey their preferences. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Every moment spent worrying about things outside your control is a moment taken away from improving what is within your reach. You can spend hours wishing someone would change, replaying unfair situations, or imagining different versions of the past. None of these actions alter reality. They simply consume the energy that could have been invested in learning, growing, or taking meaningful action. The mind becomes peaceful, not because life becomes perfect, but because it stops wasting itself on battles that cannot be won. Every challenge invites you to choose where your focus will rest. Will you become consumed by what others are doing, or will you strengthen your own character? Will you allow unexpected setbacks to steal your motivation, or will you adapt with wisdom? These decisions shape your inner world far more than external circumstances ever could. The quality of your life depends less on what happens around you and more on the state of mind you bring to each experience. Each morning, remind yourself that your thoughts can be trained just as the body can be trained. Patience grows through practice. Gratitude becomes stronger through repetition. Emotional stability develops every time you refuse to let fear or anger make your decisions. By directing your attention toward your own actions, your own values, and your own responses, you gradually build a mind that remains steady regardless of changing circumstances. The world may continue to be unpredictable, but your inner foundation becomes increasingly unshakable because you no longer seek control where none exists, and you fully embrace the power that has always been yours within. Every morning gives you a quiet opportunity that many people overlook. It is not the opportunity to become perfect overnight or to completely transform your life before sunset. It is the opportunity to become slightly better than you were yesterday. This simple idea may not sound exciting because the human mind often craves dramatic change. It wants instant success, immediate confidence, and visible results. Yet nature rarely works this way. A tree does not grow to its full height in a single season. A mountain is shaped over thousands of years. The strongest rivers carved through stone, not because of one powerful moment, but because of consistent movement. Your own growth follows the same principle. Lasting transformation is built through small improvements repeated every day. Many people become discouraged because they compare where they are with where they wish to be. They focus so intensely on the distance ahead that they fail to notice the progress already made. This habit creates frustration because the destination always appears far away. Instead of asking yourself whether you have reached perfection, ask whether you have moved one step forward today. A single step may seem insignificant, but every long journey is made of individual steps. Ignore them, and the destination remains impossible. Respect them, and even the greatest dreams slowly become reality. The greatest competition in life is not with other people. Someone will always have more experience, more talent, more resources, or greater recognition. If your happiness depends on comparing yourself with others, your peace will always remain fragile. There will always be someone ahead of you in one area of life. Instead, compare yourself with the person you were yesterday. Did you become more patient? Did you learn something new? Did you keep a promise to yourself? Did you respond with more wisdom than before? These quiet victories matter far more than temporary applause, because they represent genuine growth rather than borrowed validation. Progress often hides itself in ordinary moments. Reading a few pages each day may not seem life-changing, yet after a year, you have completed several books and gained knowledge that shapes your thinking. Exercising for 30 minutes may not transform your body overnight, but repeated consistently, it strengthens your health and discipline. Speaking with kindness during a difficult conversation may feel like a small decision, but over time, it changes the quality of your relationships. The mind often ignores these small actions because they lack excitement. Yet these are the very actions that quietly build extraordinary lives. One of the greatest obstacles to growth is perfectionism. Many people delay taking action because they fear making mistakes. They believe they must wait until they are fully prepared before beginning. Days become months, and months become years spent waiting for the perfect moment. But perfection is not the requirement for progress. Improvement comes through action, correction, and repetition. A child does not learn to walk by waiting until every movement is guaranteed to succeed. They stumble, fall, stand up again, and gradually develop balance. Growth has always depended on the willingness to continue, despite imperfection. There will be days when your progress feels invisible. You may work hard without seeing immediate results. Your efforts may seem unnoticed. Your habits may feel repetitive. During these moments, remember that many important changes occur beneath the surface before they become visible. A seed spends time growing its roots before anyone sees the plant emerge above the ground. If the roots are weak, the tree cannot survive future storms. In the same way, your daily efforts are strengthening your character long before the external rewards appear. Patience allows invisible growth to continue without unnecessary doubt. Improvement is not measured only by achievements. It is also measured by how you respond to life's challenges. Perhaps yesterday, criticism made you angry, but today you remained calm. Perhaps fear once prevented you from taking action, but today you moved forward despite uncertainty. Perhaps you used to waste hours worrying about things beyond your control, but now you redirect your attention toward meaningful action. These changes may not receive recognition from others, yet they represent profound victories within your own mind. The danger of seeking dramatic transformation is that disappointment often follows unrealistic expectations. People begin a new habit with great enthusiasm, expecting immediate success. When results arrive slowly, motivation fades. They assume nothing is changing because they cannot yet see the outcome. Wisdom understands that consistency matters far more than intensity. A small action performed every day is often more powerful than a massive effort repeated only once. The quiet discipline of showing up daily creates momentum that eventually becomes impossible to ignore. Your habits become your identity through repetition. Every action sends a message to your mind about the